where we change lives. The Fireside is actually a safe place, and it comes to you from Fort Lauderdale in Florida. I am your host, Dr. Janice Brooks, your professional people builder, life strategist, John Maxwell certified leadership trainer, coach, and speaker, and a licensed pastoral counselor. Over 28 years of building people and changing lives. Welcome to those who are joining us for the very first time. We do welcome you. Thank you so much for coming. And for those who have always been here with us Tuesday after Tuesday, we do thank you for continuing to come. A big thank you to our God who continue to give us the victory and allow us to be here for more than 18 months in this room, doing what we do best. Thanks to Purpose Coaching and Training Solutions, our sponsor for the greater part of the 18 months. Purpose Coaching and Training Solutions is a coaching and training solutions company operating from Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Thank you so much, Purpose Coaching and Training Solutions. They do invite you to join them on all the major social medias, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And tonight is another one of those nights. We have been highlighting influential women who are making an impact in their field of work and in their personal fields. And tonight is one more of those nights when we come into this room to really highlight another one of those women. But before I bring my guests to the audience, I want you to mark your calendar for two special events coming up on March 22nd and on March 29th. Put those two events in your diary and make sure that you mark those dates here for the Fireside Chat to join us. Thank you so much. So tonight, our guest on the Fireside Chat is Mrs. Charlene Pedro. And Mrs. Pedro is joining us from the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. She is a corporate trainer, personal development trainer and coach, HR consultant, inspirational speaker, and writer. She offers over 28 years experience in human resource management and is the founder of Convectus Consult Inc., where she helps CEOs and managers to solve their people and performance problems by upgrading their leadership skills, employee development efforts, and performance management systems. Mrs. Pedro is also the founder of Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene Pedro, a successful series of training programs that informs, engage, and inspires CEOs and managers to make positive impact in their workplace. In 2020, she founded Mastery of Me, an online program that helps professional women achieve their goals, pursue that thing that sets their soul on fire, and live deeper, meaningful lives. Charlene has a train the trainer certificate in the author from the Author Lockjaw Graduate School of Business and read for her Bachelor of Science degree in management with a minor in sociology at the University of the West Indies and her postgraduate diploma in business administration and Master of Business Administration from the Edinburgh Business School, Heriot-Watt University in Scotland. She also has a certificate in mediation skills from the Williams Mitchell College of Law in Minnesota, USA. And Charlene is the past president of the Association of Female Executives of Trinidad and Tobago. Right now, I'm about to bring my guests to the spotlight. Mrs. Charlene Pedro, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for coming to share with us tonight on the Fireside Chat.
Thank you so much, Janice. Could we start with a woo-wee? I am so excited and happy to be here. I have my little thingy, my tribe who are here, who are supporting me. Simone, I saw Abigail, and I saw Giselle from Mastery of Me. So they know that I always walk with this. Yeah. So this is how we celebrate. So I'm really in a celebratory mood this evening, particularly on today, International Women's Day.
Absolutely. Yes. And so I just want to pause again to say happy Women's Day to all the women in here. It is actually no secret that we are strong, we are courageous, we are resilient, we are influential, and we are beautiful. And so I trust that you all had a wonderful day and it's not yet over. So you can still enjoy the rest of your evening. But I want to go straight into the program right now. And when I when I read your bio, Mrs. Pedro, you have such a really impressive bio. And so there's so much we're going to have to talk about tonight, but our program will last for the next 30 or so minutes because I want to be able to leave enough time at the end of the program so the audience can ask questions
Of
of the
course.
guests. Absolutely. So my first question to you, because as I read, I have quite a bit of questions. What was what was the one thing that caused you to choose people development? Because I see that you were in the field of HR first. What was that one thing that made you choose people development?
Well, let's say that people development chose me. Yeah. That one thing that guided me along this path of people development was being terminated. Yeah. So if when imagine yourself, you're head of HR, nice job, fantastic team and company, and your CEO calls you into his office and he says, "I want you to advertise this job internally for me." And I said, "Sure, fine, no problem." And then you look at the job and you realize that it's your job. What would be your response? So that is what happened to me. I was asked to advertise my job while I still sat in the seat. And, I complied. I was seeking advice, IR advice from the professionals. What should I do in this situation? I worked in a organization that reported to the government. And the advice was, well, you should apply for the position. So here I was sitting in the seat and I applied for my own job. So I went to the interview and I was found not suitable for this new role. And I was hanging on a thread for numerous months, wondering what was happening. But eventually I knew what was happening. Like I tell people, the writing was on the wall, it was on the carpet, it was down the corridor, the writing was all over the place. And I distinctly remember going on vacation during that period. And while I was on vacation, someone was sitting in my seat. So I told myself when I get back to the country, I know that I have no job. So you can imagine my surprise coming to work the first day from vacation and realize my office is still empty. So I continued like the work just disappeared. I had no passion for what I had to do, and it seems like there was no work to do. And I sat in that seat from end of August till November. And I remember my chairman calling me to a meeting. And I went to the boardroom. He said he was not ready. I said, "Well, I'll be minded inquired, and I heard he left the building. And for me, I said, how rude. you call a meeting, you have not canceled the meeting. And I remember sending the message to the secretary that I know what's happening. And I want to say here, and for me, I believe in building relationship. To me, that's the huge people support you no matter what you do or whatever the situation is. So here I was sitting at my desk, and someone will come to me and said, they're doing a letter for X, Y, and Z. Someone in accounts will come to me and they sent for this information. My HR officer will come to me and say, they inquire about your vacation. Now, when you're in HR and anybody inquiring about your vacation, they're looking to calculate the value of your vacation. Yeah. So it was the most, and looking back, the thing about it is that I went through, that period of my life as normal. I came to work, yes, I was busy looking for a job, signing up in so many agencies. My head was really just spinning. I was so tired and confused. And, after a while, I just pressed pause. And I look at my whiteboard, and what I wrote on my whiteboard for a while now, I wrote, "No weapon formed before me shall prosper." And that was on my whiteboard, nothing else. And no
Amen.
one was allowed to erase that.
Amen.
And at some point in time, after all that mental anguish, now I understand it was mental anguish because I always feel I'm this strong woman handling her stories. And at some point in time, I just pressed pause, or should I say, the Lord pressed pause. And I truly and deeply let go and let God. I could not have done anything else. I just let go and let God. And I realized from then things started to fall into place. I went to my CEO and I said, and I got strength too. I went to my CEO and I said, I know what's happening here. It's dragging on for too long. And I use these words, let's get it on. Remember Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. I use these words, let's get it on. And I got so bold. I told my CEO that if you don't bring this to a close before staff meeting on Friday, I will have to raise the matter in staff meeting. Well, of course, everything, fast tracked, and we had our meeting on the Thursday before the staff meeting. And in that meeting, with members of the board, that was my last meeting, that was my last time in that building, and with members of the board. And I remember sitting there and, telling me that, well, this is it. You haven't met the requirements. And if I could tell you that I could not find my voice, I was trying to speak, but I couldn't speak. I was like a frog truly croaking, very, very soft, and nothing was coming out. But I continued speaking, although I was not hearing myself. And the more I spoke, the louder I got until I was able to hear myself once again. And I realized it was really fear. It was, really fear that I've never felt before. And I was able to speak and tell the panel in the room that I hold no animosity against anybody at this table, as I've had a good I got up. I remember turning my heels and I walked out that door, my head up and my shoulders square. And that, as I left, and everybody came in my office crying, how could they do this to you, Charlene? And I said, I was happy to leave. I said, my heart is no longer here. My values are not aligned with what's happening in the organization. So I was happy to leave. And as I left on that Thursday, and as I was leaving the building, somebody said, "Charlene, I have a client who's looking for an HR consultant." And I said, "Well, I don't have anything to do. So, yeah." So they called the client. We scheduled for the Tuesday. That was my first meeting with that client. And the client remains with me up to now. And so from that, I evolved from just being HR consultancy to now supporting women with my Mastery of Me program, which actually was founded last year in the midst of COVID. So I know I've shared a lot there, so I'll just pause here.
You
I'll
know,
press pause here also.
I am listening to you, and I'm wondering if you have started writing a book, because that needs to be something that others need to learn from. Let me just pause to say, if you have joined the room since we started, we are talking with Mrs. Charlene Pedro, who is joining us from out of the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. We are talking with another influential woman, and our topic tonight is stand in your power. Stand in your power. And this is definitely standing in your power. You know, I wrote down the little note here that says, when one door is closed, another is opened. When one door is closed, another is open. Your story could give so many persons hope, Mrs. Pedro. Persons who have been partially thrown out, felt that they have been used. So we want to go a little bit more into these questions tonight, because this is really, really very interesting. So you decided that you were just going to press a pause, and you were going to pivot, and you were going to pick yourself up. Now that you have pivoted into what I call people building, because when you are pouring into the life of people, you're actually building people, and you are empowering others to stand in their power. Talk to us about the real essence of standing in your power. How did you get to that, standing in your
Yeah.
power?
It's understanding first, being self-aware. You can't tap into your power if you don't know who you are. You can't tap into your power if you don't know what your values are. What are you standing for? So I always say that there's no personal growth, there's no self growth without self awareness. If you want to get from point A to point B, we know you must know where point A is. And that point A is self awareness. And, we're so busy with life. We get busy with our jobs, we get busy with home, we get busy with the garden, and we don't pause to find out who we are, what are our values. Are we living a life aligned with our values? If we're not, we will find we're having an internal tug of war. That's what was happening with me at my job. Things changed. Decisions were, unethical decisions, and I was no longer comfortable there. So the Lord felt it was time to kick me out.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if we want to stand in our power, we must understand and know what our values are, so it could guide us and we could use it for decision making. For me, standing in my power is also having faith. It's understanding where I draw my power from. Where is that well that I dip in? It's not just from me. So I say I walk in faith, because I could tell you, before I got my first client, I didn't know what I was doing next. Remember, I still had a family. I was married. My husband is a teacher, executive. I had two children. But, the funny thing was, I was not worried. I was happy to leave. I was not worried. And I said, one day at a time, sweet Jesus, one foot in front of the other, and wherever you lead me, can't see round the corner, can't see up the staircase, but I am walking in faith. So to stand in your power is understanding yourself, understanding your values, understanding that there's something bigger than you that's going to take care of you. I always tell people, my God got my back, and He never failed me yet. So all that is the essence of our power. And then we delve in to find out really what is our gift that we can offer the world. What is that gift that can make a positive impact on people around us? And that gift doesn't have to be anything grand. We think about grand things when we think about gifts. But your gift really given to you, that only you can do it that way because of your uniqueness. I so believe that when we were all born, when we were formed, that we've all been blessed. I have this little stick here. Where's my magic wand that I use in my session? And we've all been blessed and get the pixie dust so that we all have a touch of magic within us, that only you could do it that way. Because when you bring your whole self and all your experiences and all the little uniqueness of yourself, there is no competition. Nobody does it like you. So when we understand our gifts, we can stand in our power. But it's to take the time to go through the process of your values, of stepping in faith and understanding and knowing your gift.
That is indeed powerful. I'm gonna
So
have to repeat.
I'll pause for a drink here.
I'm gonna have to repeat some of this. When you understand your gift, you can truly stand in your power. When you know that uniqueness, you can truly stand in your power. That is what standing in your power means. When you know who you are, when you have that awareness of self. Thank you so much for explaining that so clearly. So I do believe that, and let me say, I have seen some comments start to come into the chat. Go ahead and use up the chat, put your comments, put your questions, whatever you have, go ahead, because in the next 20 minutes or so, we are going to be taking comments, taking questions from the audience. We are going to be making sure that we come away today with the with the knowledge and the understanding of what it really is to stand in your power. As this influential woman is sharing her story, Mrs. Charlene Pedro, thank you so much for that. So my next question is, someone may be sitting in the audience and the person is hearing everything you're saying. You're saying understanding your gift, know your own uniqueness, but they might be saying, where do I really start? Where do I really start? How would you advise them?
You know, start with what you are trying to achieve and start with your why. Yeah. What we call in Mastery of Me, we do our fifth why, and we have some tribeswomen here, as I called, hail them out previously. We start with our fifth why because many times we want to achieve something, a goal, whatever it may be, and sometimes it may not be for the right reason. Sometimes we don't even know why. And that question, why, we usually respond in a superficial manner. Yeah, a superficial manner. But I'm talking about the deeper why, so that when you keep asking yourself why you want to do something and you get that answer, you ask yourself why again, and you keep asking why until you get down to your core. You actually feel it. I mean, when you do this session, sometimes people are moved to tears when they actually find out what is their core why, their fifth why. And when you find that why, that is what could move you forward to achieve your goal. If you want to make a change in your life, anything you want to do, you must stand on your why before you stand in the how you're going to do it. So I'll always say start with your why, and all of that is one element of self awareness. You start with your why, you look at your values, so that you could really do the foundation before you start to make a change, that change you want in your life.
So I'm hearing you saying to these women, the how is secondary. You have to first know your why. That's the primary part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping everyone is taking notes here tonight, because if you don't know your why, make sure when you leave here tonight, you know exactly what your why is, why you want to do what you do. But
Let
let
me
me,
just give an example, Janice,
oh,
quickly. So I
absolutely.
was chatting with someone recently, actually last week, and somebody I was coaching, and they wanted to shift jobs because they wanted to, get in a different field, HR. And I kept asking why. And when we delved into it, it was really because there was no peace of mind in the job she was in. So she thought she wanted to shift it specifically in HR or switch jobs, but what she really wanted was peace of mind. What she really wanted was to feel good about herself and not be in a toxic environment. Yeah. And that was her why, claiming back her power, feeling good about herself and what she could contribute to her workplace, what she could contribute to this world. So it wasn't so much about switching jobs, it was more about claiming back her power and feeling good about herself, that she has value. Yeah, so that's just an example of how we can do our fifth why.
That is indeed powerful, because sometimes we see persons and we think it's all about the money. But
And it's not.
this one had nothing to do with the money.
Yeah.
So I want to go just a little bit deeper into that one. So I want to know, how does the person know that they're actually standing in their power? How do they know when they're truly standing in their power?
You know, you feel it in your core. You truly feel it in your core. You know, we have this exercise we do in mastery. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror, and what do you see? When you stand in your power and you look in that mirror, you see somebody powerful. You see somebody as a beautiful child of God. You see someone with potential to be tapped into. You see the possibilities. So it's something deep within that you feel it and you could express it. That's standing in your power. You will know it when you stand in it.
I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. We lost you just a minute ago.
Yes, very nice. We have a little time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and say that again for the record, because I think we break up. We weren't hearing the voice.
Okay, surely. As I shared, we do an exercise mirror, and what do you see? And then they will come back and share. When you stand in your power, when you look in that mirror, you see a powerful being. You see a beautiful child of God that has so much untapped potential. So when you stand in your power, you feel it in your core, you know it. Nobody can tell you, but you will know it. That's the standing in your power. And that power, no one can take away from you. No termination, no loss of job, no loss of husband or wife. No one can take that power away from you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. So I think we have so carefully covered how a woman can truly stand in their power. Um, and I'm going to move away from that, because I want to hear a little bit about your Mastery of Me program and all of those things that you do. But um, so what are some of the possibilities that you would say that is available to somebody who is truly standing in their power? What are some of the possibilities that are out there? Because I want women, today is Women International Day, and not just women, but I want persons to know that it doesn't matter what happened, you can stand in your power. There is much that will be available to you if you do that.
Yes, and you know, we have to be careful not to be distracted by the external. There are
Mhm.
times we need to put blinders. We have to be careful that we are, and I say distraction. So we may be distracted because, you know, we are not in the best work environment. It might even be a toxic work environment, but that doesn't define you. That doesn't define your power. Actually, it can't even take away your power. We may be distracted because we are comparing our journey with somebody else, and we feel we are behind. But I want to share that we are never behind, because your journey is your journey. Your experience is your experience, your authentic experience. So you have to claim that. You are never, ever behind. So your timing is yours. You get to control and to decide on your purpose, your path, and your pace. That's one saying we have in Mastery of Me. And in terms of your possibility, it is endless, it is limitless. Your only limit is really your imagination. And it always starts within. Before we go to the external, we work on the internal. And when we feel that stand in the power, now we are empowered, we feel strong, we feel confident. And let me just touch on that confidence. You know, it's a mistake to wait to be confident to do your do. We build confidence by doing. So to wait to be confident and then do whatever it is, go back to school, change your job, start your business. Probably I don't use the word side hustle, and I don't use the word side either. We got to give it more respect. So to start your business while you work, whatever you want to do, volunteer, travel the world, whatever it is that you want to do, that confidence you're waiting for to speak in front of audience, to be a speaker, that confidence only comes by doing. It's in the doing that we build the confidence. So we do first and then we become confident. It's like a muscle. It's in building the muscle that we become confident. And I tell people, we grow our wings as we fly. Don't wait for the wings. We grow our wings as we fly.
That is huge. Thank you so much for really going in depth with explaining those possibilities of standing in your power. And let me move on a little bit because I know we're coming up to time. But Mastery of Me, I really love that name. That's such a beautiful name. It speaks volumes. So I want you to talk to us a little bit about what is Mastery of Me. I have never sat in any of your sessions before, but just the name brings out so much. Talk to us a little bit about what this is about, what exactly you do, and
Yes.
who is it geared towards. Mastery of
And
Me.
I can't even remember how I came up with the name. Mastery of Me started, as COVID started in Trinidad in March. I think most people remember the day, maybe March the 13th, I think. Um, and there was lockdown. There was this feeling of despair. You know, I myself, Simon said in the chat, yes, it's March the 13th. We kind of know that date. So, lockdown, despair. My husband and I were watching the update from the Ministry of Health every single day at 10 a.m. People are sending WhatsApp messages about who's dying, how many being hospitalized, how many has COVID, and it's really became a dark place, a really dark, gloomy place. And I told myself, well, my husband and I first, we stopped watching the updates and television. And I told myself, Charlene, if you're feeling like this, could you imagine how your friends and other people are feeling? What can you do? It's like when you're at war and everybody come out to help, the old ladies come out to knit whatever and women come out to do whatever. And I said, Charlene, what can you do? I said, okay, so you're a trainer. So you're going to offer a free series of session for a week, and who wants to hop on could hop on. And that's what I did. So that session looked at the growth mindset. It looked at your personal branding, goal setting. So we had a different topic every evening, and I got one or two friends to hop on and facilitate one or two other topics. And after we finished that session, I remember being in my porch and carrying my laptop outside for a little change in scenery. And after I finished that session, one of the ladies reached out to me and said, Charlie, I put my money aside. I want to work with you and continue working on my goals. And then somebody else reached out to me on Facebook, and somebody else reached out to me. And I said, okay, Charlene, hold up. You need to design a program to support these women. And that I did. I just, read from what we did in that one week and what those who reached out to me wanted. And I designed a program. And that program, can't remember the first name of Mastery of Me, but that ran for 6 months. And I, based on feedback, and I myself wanted to collapse it a bit. So it collapsed into 12 weeks. And what we have now is the Mastery of Me program that is a 12-week program that looks at the 4 pillars of self leadership. So it's a self leadership mastermind and masterclass. So it's a mixture. So you get some training in your masterclass, you do your self discovery, you self awareness, which is in self discovery, self management, and self growth. So there are 4 pillars we look at, and we have some actual classes, and everything is online. So we have some classes, and then we have some mastermind. The key thing is that you set your goal, whatever it may be, and you work towards that goal. It may be a long-term goal, and you have a milestone that you can achieve within that 12 weeks. And we support each other. We have accountability circles. So besides the session, they meet among themselves to keep each other on track and to keep uplifting each other. And I want to say that that has evolved and spin off into a movement. From the first session, there was some tribeswomen, and they came up with the name. So it's really driven by the tribeswomen. So the tribeswomen, as they call themselves, there were some from the first session that said, "I don't want this to end. I don't want this to end." So we continue, different cohorts have their WhatsApp chats, and they continue supporting each other even after they graduate. I mean, 2 years after, they're still supporting each other. And the strangest thing about this program is that everybody who came to the program and is in the program now, because we do have a cohort in session now, they have 2 weeks to go. Everybody in that program is a believer. So when somebody hopped on a WhatsApp and people message, "I need some prayers." And I tell you, they're going to get it right there in that WhatsApp. They're going to get it. Somebody's going to send a voice note. Somebody's going to, text some prayers. So whatever is needed to support and uplift each other. Somebody's son is in Trinidad while they live in Barbados and couldn't get transportation to get to the grocery, I think it was, the supermarket, and somebody hop in and say, "I can fill in." I think the transport is on strike. Somebody hop in and say, "Okay, I can help. I can take him to the grocery." And this has been a mind blowing experience for me and everybody else as to how we can support women, women truly supporting, uplifting, and loving each other. So, it's such a special place. And I'm so proud of each and every one of my tribeswomen. And we do have about 3 online here. Support
That
again. Yeah. I'll never be alone. That I know.
that is indeed powerful because out of what you thought was an adverse circumstance, you now have this gem, mastery of me. I know there are some persons who came into the room after we started, long after we started, but we are talking with Mrs. Charlene Pedro. She is from out of Trinidad and Tobago, the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. And she is one of those influential women who is making great strides. And we're talking about stand in your power. And so as we go down to the final 2 questions before we open the floor for persons to ask questions, make their comments. I listened that you talk about mastery of me and the different things that you do. But what are like 2 learning points that every person can take away from this session? What are 2 things? If I come to this session, talk about 2 things that we can take away from this session.
Yeah. What I've noticed for individuals who come to the session, there's a jump in self-confidence, self-awareness, and confidence. Yeah. So sometimes people come to the session and they don't have a tangible goal like to, I don't know, change jobs or to start a business, but they may just want to develop themselves. But what I've noticed with everybody, regardless of the goal, one thing you'll walk away with, you'll be walking on cloud 9. You will feel so good because after you go through the process, when we spoke about standing with your power, doing your values, doing your fifth why, so they do all that. So they're surely standing in their power after the session. Who was not confident to do certain things for their business, said they would never have done it if it wasn't for the program. So that's one thing you're guaranteed. The things that you didn't think was possible before you started, you now know it is possible. And the next thing you will well, you wouldn't walk away with, you will remain with, is a sisterhood and a tribe that will be with you forever and ever and ever. Amen. So those are 2 powerful things. And we do need a tribe. We need support. I remember a long, long time when I was called to speak on a panel at Arthur Jack Graduate School. They called me to speak, and I thought probably, they didn't get somebody else and they got me last minute. And because I was like, why little old me? They had, the CEO of an asset company, they had chairman of Digicel, and then they had a guest speaker from the US, and then they had Charlene
A little bit of technical difficulty right there. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty right there.
And when I popped in a group from one thing, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, great. And in that group, one person just text in the group, you have worked hard, you deserve it. You are enough. And that did it for me. I threw all the, why they called you, and I threw all of that through the window, and I got dressed that day and stood in my power that day, and got fantastic feedback. So we do need a tribe at times. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I made a note of the confidence and the power to stand. Those are the two things I made a note of right here. And confidence is something that you develop over time. You don't wake up tomorrow morning and you just have confidence. It's something that is developed over time. Thank you so much, Mrs. Pedro, for that. And someone may be listening to you. They may be from the United States. They may be from Jamaica. They may be from Canada. They may be from your own country, Trinidad and Tobago. And they're saying, how can I join this tribe? Because this sounds like a tribe I need to become a part of. How can persons really contact you? How can they have a session with you? How do people get in touch with you?
Well, there are a few ways you could contact me. You could visit my webpage, charlenepedro.com, or you could just message me on LinkedIn. I'm there almost every day. I mean, Janice, that's how we met online. This is our first face-to-face, actually, and I somehow feel as if I know you already. So if you are on LinkedIn, you can simply reach out to me via message, tell me you were here, and we can always hop on a call. Yeah. And if you need to, you can give me a ring. I have my number on my LinkedIn page that you could always, message me. I'm open to connecting. I'm open to supporting because I've reached this journey, and I can tell you, Janice, at one point in time, I was not listening to God. I did an online session with some woman and I stopped, and that was years ago. And now, since COVID has started, I've learned to be obedient. So I know now that this is my vocation. It is not a job, it is not something I do. This is my vocation. So I'm here to support women so that they can achieve what they felt was impossible, and also that they can tap into that potential and, as we said, stand in their power. We are so powerful. You know, you know more than you think. I've discovered that. I mean, who knew people would pay me to train, right? You know more than you think. And it's to appreciate our talents, our skills, and our gifts. When we have that appreciation, then we can truly stand in our power. We can live that life that we desire and that we deserve.
What a better way to open the floor to get some questions, because Mrs. Pedro had truly shared about how we can stand in our power. The story that she shared about her own life, that is something literally incredible. And I'm sure there are some questions for her. There are some comments. There are some persons who want to talk to her some more. So I'm going to open the floor. Raise your virtual hands or drop your questions or comments in the chat so that we can take them, so that we can answer some of those questions. I know we started a little bit late, so we may be going over the 9 p.m. Time just a little bit, but I'm going to be opening the floor right now. So I'm going to be changing my view just a little bit so I can see the hands when they're raised. I think we have, last time I saw, we had 25 people in the room, but yes, let me get some questions from the chat and then I will be able to take the virtual hands just to see. hear the question that we have. So in the chat, I do have the regular greetings, and I saw someone made a comment, a setback is only set up to come back. That is indeed powerful. A setback is only a setup to come back. And I love that she says faith is where our power comes from. Faith is where our power comes from. That is indeed also powerful, because yes, when we believe we can, then we can. It's rarely ever about money. Self-awareness and awareness of our values is key. And purpose, she talked about purpose, path, and pace. Absolutely love it. And power. Purpose, path, pace. And so often she did refer to power. So let's get some questions or other comments from the audience. Go ahead, raise your virtual hand if you have a question or a comment, or just go ahead and speak. Simone, you have your hand raised. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Janice. So good night, everyone. So I'm one of Charlene's tribeswomen. So if you couldn't tell, I'm from Trinidad. My question, yes, I was waiting for that. Great session, Dr. Janice. Thank you so much. And Charlene, great as usual. I have a question and I want to have your feedback, both of you. I've heard it said that things like motivation and this kind of inner work is something that you have to keep at. It's not a one-off occasion that, okay, like we did the program, you fix, go on, go with God, do what you have to do. I've often heard it said, Zig Ziglar saying that it's like bathing, you have to do it all the time. You know, what are your thoughts about that? How can somebody keep doing the refreshing, you know, that work that you have to keep up? Like, you know, how do you think we can do that?
Yeah, if I may, Janice,
Yes.
you know, and what you're saying is true. And I have read, you know, the comparison, the analogy, we're taking a shower. We do it every day because we need it. And I have found so myself, so that sometimes, you know, I allow myself now sometimes if I don't have a productive day, I don't knock myself over my knuckles. But there are times I know that I need to step up. Yeah. So I think we need, going back to self-awareness, what do you need to keep going? And that motivation train. So there are 2 points here. Keep going. What do you need? For me, I need to tap into my tribe. I need to feed my mind. That's what I call my mind diet. So I look at motivational videos, Les Brown, impact theory. When people think they should clean in their house on Saturday morning, I'm in front of my TV watching YouTube. Okay, I'm feeding my brain, relaxing, feeding my brain, and sometimes taking notes. So we have to know ourselves what we need. You know, what is our morning routine to help us start a positive day, whether it is prayer. Again, for me, it's prayer, it's Bible reading, something motivational or religious music. What it is you need. And we will only know what we need when we are self-aware. So that's one thing with the motivation. The other thing with motivation, you know, it's a scam, as my daughter would use this word often. It's a scam. So we don't need motivation all the time to do our do. When we don't have that motivation, what could replace it is discipline. You know, discipline to know that we have to do X, Y, and Z to achieve our goal. Discipline to know that we need to get off the phone because it's been an hour you've been scrolling because you have work to do. Yeah. Discipline to know that you will not, whether it's chat with a friend who's chat for an hour because you have to work on your goals. So when the motivation doesn't work, the thing that could help us in that situation is really discipline. And discipline is part of self-management. And we go back to one of the pillars of self-leadership, that is in the mastery of me. The self-management, what are the habits? What I call, what's the habits? I know with life habits, and then we have those habits that sucks the anywhere. So we need to know what it is we need to get rid of. What are those habits we need to get rid of? And what are the habits that really support us? What are those life-giving habits that bring us closer to our goal? So it's really about self-management and discipline when the motivation is going through the window. So that'd be my 2 takes on that.
Thank you so much for that. And I did get a I did get a question for you, Mrs. Pedro. Back to when you talked about your time with the company and how you had to advertise your own job. The question is, did you ever receive an apology, or did you ever meet with those persons at any other time since that time?
Well, that's a very interesting question. The human body is something else. After I left that job, after I left that building, after I left that company, I could not remember the individual's name. You hear me?
Yes.
I could not remember their name. I didn't see them again in public, and I could not remember their name. It's only years after, and this happened 9 years ago. It's only years after I realized that was a natural coping mechanism for me. I mean, I didn't seek, therapy or anything, and now I realize that I needed it at that time because I just couldn't remember the individual's name. So it's almost as if it was a self-preservation approach. Yeah. So I have not seen the individuals again. Actually, I saw one at a colleague's funeral, and I walked up boldly and I shook his hand and asked him how he's doing. So in terms of apology, I don't never expected one, and I don't think I'll get one at this stage.
All right, thank you so much for answering. I hope that answers the question. I do see Abigail with her hand up. Go ahead, Abigail, and ask your question.
Abigail is another tribeswoman.
Okay.
Okay.
You deserve one
Sorry.
too. Thank you for your support.
Yes, and everyone gets that, the whistle or the horn. So I want to say, being a part of the Charlene program and being a tribeswoman, it's a privilege for me, right? And this taught me, we never look down, right? We never look down because we are enough, and the only thing we have to do is go up. And I always remember Charlene saying, only time we look down is to admire those beautiful shoes that we have on. Right? That's the only time we look down. Right? We are enough. And being a part of this tribe has, shown me or taught me that, there is support. You are not in a situation, you're in a situation where other women might be in. And only when you come into this forum and we have the discussions, then we realize, hey, we are similar. We have this need and to excel. And since that, we are, my motivation is on top, right? So no matter what sphere of life you come from, you understand, you are enough. Wherever you want to go in life, you can go there. There's no deterrent. Any negative words spoken by anyone, that's not the end of you, right? Because my tribeswoman will just eat them up, right? Charlene will just eat them up, because we don't talk nothing negative about persons, because everyone is different, right? Everyone have their quality, everyone have their calling in life. We are children of God, and I can do anything. I can do anything. And this program has been a really a real help for me. And I started this program during COVID time. And I said, this is an investment for me. I am doing this program. I know Charlene. I have always kept her contact. And I trust Charlene. I'm doing this with her. And it was one of the best things I did during the COVID time. It took me through that time. It took me through a time when, my job wasn't the best situation at the time, right? I was volunteering, everything was down. But this kept me up, right? It kept me up, and we are still on our WhatsApp group. Like if we are still in training with Charlene, we support each other, we check in when we can. And Charlene is there every morning sending motivational videos, sending motivational, words of wisdom and words of encouragement. And this helps. So, when you're feeling down and you're alone, you have your tribes woman to help you. We have the information to go back on, and we have all the teaching. So I want to say, kudos to Charlene, kudos to you as well for assisting women, because we need it. We need it, especially in this country where I tell my children, we are in a vacation in Trinidad because we are sun and sea, and we can relax, and and especially in rural communities, a lot of women, they are not, they don't come out and are not motivated to be in these kind of sessions. But I wanted different for myself, and to this program, that assisted me in boosting my morale. And I could do much more. I talk differently. I grasp at all my opportunities. I right now I'm in my master's program again, so I'm not stopping. So I want to say thank you again to Charlene, and encourage anyone. You just keep on going up, because you don't look down at yourself. That anyone could say anything about you, but you keep at your
And let's say
goal.
looking at your
And
shoes, right?
you understand? Yeah, you just admire those shoes, right? You just admire those shoes, and you just keep on going up. If
Beautiful.
something happens and you say, wait, boy, I make a mistake here, this didn't go well. Okay, I learn a lesson. That's an experience. Let me go again. You just push off and you go again, right? And when every step that you make, you're in a better position, because you know more, right? Every step you make, you're in a better position. It's not like if you're starting from scratch, right? You're starting on a higher level. So I want to encourage everyone to be a part of these programs. It will really help. And I want to encourage Charlene and they to keep on. I don't know how Charlene is so bubbly every morning. I tell her I need a vitamin that she has. But it's thank you, Charlene. God bless you.
All
Janice,
right,
God bless
look
you
at
as well.
that. That's such a powerful
I mean,
testimony.
thank you.
Someone who has
Let me just celebrate.
someone who has
Let
benefited
me
is
just
able to
celebrate.
give that testimony. Thank you so much, Miss Abigail, for giving that. And I see some comments coming in the chats here. It says, the first one says, I thank you for sharing yourself with us. I do appreciate you for just being there for anyone seeking how to become a better me. Be continually blessed in your obedience to God. And then thank you, Dr. Janice, for bringing Mrs. Pedro to the platform to share phenomenal program as always. Absolutely. This is what we do. We build people and we change lives. And that's what Mrs. Pedro is doing over there in Trinidad, building people and changing lives. Dr. Lewis, I see your hand up.
Yes, I just want to commend Charlene for turning her test into a testimony, and to encourage my sisters that when life presents you with lemon, you make lemonade.
Wow.
And we encourage one another and lift one another up. Sometimes we're in our comfort zone, and God really has to kick us so that we can make branches. I mean, 14, 15 years ago, I was terminated from my job without basis. When I inquired, I realized that my supervisor thought that I was a threat to her. So she did what she had to do. And out of that circumstance was when I started my own business, and I never looked back. So I am just here to encourage us. Sometimes circumstances may look grim, but that is the way, the pathway, the conduit that God will use to set you up. So be encouraged.
Wow, that is indeed an encouragement again. We are getting them from all sides. And today being International Women's Day, yes, yes, and yes. We have a God who's always looking out for us, and all things will work together for our good. It did in your case, it did in Mrs. Pedro's case. And I'm sure if
Yes.
everybody was to give a testimony, they could at least think of something that turned around for them because of obedience. Let me see if there
Yes.
are any other questions or comments. We're about to wrap up shortly. Are there any other persons with any other questions or comments? I want to give Mrs. Pedro her last remarks. We are thankful to have had you sharing with us It was truly an insightful and inspiring program as usual. All that setback is oftentimes a setup. Yes. Thank you so much again for that one in the chat. We continue to come here each Tuesday night and share these powerful stories and allow these persons. These are ordinary people who have extraordinary stories, who are doing extraordinary things. And we want to continue to highlight them on the Fireside chat. We have been here for the last 18 months going, almost 2 years now, just in a few months. And we will continue to go by God's grace. I want you to mark your calendar for March 22nd and March 29, when we'll be having two powerful programs. We want you to pack this room out. We want to make sure we have at least 400 people coming into this room on the 29th of March, because it's going to be a night to remember. So mark those dates on your calendar. Start telling everybody about the Fireside chat and that particular night, particularly March 29th. And so we thank you everyone for coming. I'm going to give Mrs. Pedro her last comments, because I want her to just take it away and close the program off for us.
Thanks so much, Janice, for inviting me. And I want first, before I end, to really say thank you to my tribe. So I see I have a few here. I have Kylie, I have Euclid. Of course, we had Simone and Abigail. I saw Giselle sometime. I don't know if she's still on, but I really want to thank them again for supporting me in what I do. I also saw Hyacinth from our island, from our country. So thank you so much for hopping on, Hyacinth. And as we close today, this evening, I want us to remind ourselves of the power that we have within. Yeah. Don't be distracted by what's going on around you, even the COVID, even the war. We empathize, with what's happening. We can even help, but they're not mutually exclusive. You can empathize and still work on yourself. So don't be distracted. Keep working on yourself. Recognize that you do have the power within, because you have been blessed with that at birth. So keep working on yourself. Yeah. Keep focused and keep working on yourself.
Thank you so much for that, Mrs. Pedro. And once again, thank you to everyone who have come to share with us tonight. We are here each Tuesday at this time, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's where we have those conversations, and it's where we build people and where we change lives. Join us again next week, Tuesday, when we will have another both interesting and inspiring guests who will come back in here to share with us. Tell someone else about the Fireside chat. When you get that flyer in the days, share it with 1, 2, or 3 more persons, so they too can come in and get what you get from this program. God bless you, and you all have a wonderful night, and see you again next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Celebration for this is for the power in you, the power that you will discover.
I think you should give us another 2 shouts of that. It's international.
You're having misbehaving. Don't even know me. But thank you so much for a fantastic session, Janice, and thank you so much for having me. Really, really appreciate it.
Dr. Louis' hands is up.
Pardon me?
No, I think it was the hand from the last time.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I never took it down. Thank you.
Okay.
And I didn't hear my friend Chesley tonight. Is he in here? Yes. Chesley.
Yes, I'm here, but it's Women's International Day, so I just allowed the women.
So that was a great cover up, Mr. Chesley.
I just sit back and listen to the women. Let them lead today. It's their day.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thanks for the company.
Wonderful. We are happy to have you, Attorney Duane. And Mrs. Duane, I know you're going to be back in here on the 29th for that powerful night. So start telling all of your tribe, everybody is to bring 5 persons in here on that night, because there is going to be a huge gift for those who bring the most persons into this room on that night. So, Joni, why are you laughing?
Oh.
How many persons did you bring?
No,
How many
sir.
persons you planning to bring?
I bring somebody every time. I try not to come alone. It's
Oh,
too good to
I
keep
do
to
know that.
myself.
You are here from inception, so I do know that. You're a foundation member. Janet?
I'm not very selfish.
I know. Oh, Lord, thank you so much, guys. And I see Miss Marcia is here with us tonight as well. Let's see who else is in here with us. Mrs. Duane. Miss Yvette. Miss Yvette is in here with us.
Chamber.
Miss Chambers. She's not hearing me.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
Wonderful. You're joining us from one of those cold states, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in New Jersey.
Oh, you're in New
Wow.
Jersey.
Cold.
Yep.
Ah, it's good. It's cool and nice. I just love it.
Oh, nice. Well, guess what happened? We're cool down here too. You know, we got some real wind this morning. Anybody living in Florida got that wind this morning? Oh,
Yeah,
Yes,
Joan,
we did.
yeah,
Yes.
We
we
get it
got
in Georgia. In Georgia, it's
you're
windy,
cool
like
up there too.
very, very windy. I have not been
Very
outside.
windy and
I just
cool.
could hear the woo like tornado.
Exactly.
Wow.
Are
Dr.
you
Janice is still
able?
recording.
Yeah, I heard
I
that too.
wondered if
And
Ukraine
sunny
came
too.
here.
Still recording?
He's still
Oh my
recording.
God, sorry. Oh my God.